Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to MediaCityUK and welcome to the University of Salford. My name is Mike Hessian. I'm the Research and Innovation Manager here at the University for this building, this fantastic building that we're very proud to have. My role is really to work with others to drive forward the research and innovation agenda within MediaCity, which is itself quite a new cluster. We've been in this building for about a year. The cluster itself has only been open for about 18 months. Part of what a university does is obviously pushing forward the boundaries of knowledge. But I think increasingly what we're trying to do is also push down the boundaries between different types of knowledge. So a great example of that is, in fact, the ScreenLab presentation that you're about to see, where we have artists working with computer scientists in high-end computer science facilities, the virtual reality facilities back on the main campus. ScreenLab is something that was actually the university wanted to be involved in. It's been led by Elliot Woods and Kit Turner. We were very pleased to be involved in it because not only would it be sort of working at that boundary between science and art that we think is where all the really interesting stuff happens. We could also, it's indicative of the kind of collaborations that the university wants to drive forward in this space. I was very pleased that they, as well as using our virtual reality facilities back on the main campus, we also were able to today to use the amazing public facilities we've got here, particularly in the egg in the main reception, and also using the Adobe Research Hotel, which is our innovation space up on the second floor. This is actually part of a series of events, rather this lecture this evening, which is the culmination of ScreenLab, is part of a series of events that we put together to develop the research culture here at Media City under the umbrella title As Yet Impossible, and coordinated through Mary Oliver. And the reason that we wanted to have this discussion at the culmination of ScreenLab as part of As Yet Impossible is because it is just that exemplar of a project that brings together artists, scientists within the university. And it's the kind of thing through experimentation and play that the university does so well. So I hope you all enjoy this evening. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm going to hand you over now to Elliot Woods, who will tell you a bit more about what's going to happen and introduce the artists. There you go.
Thanks, Mike. Can everybody hear me? Right. I got a bit of a dry throat. And is this lighting good? So I'm just getting really picky about these things. Right, so we started ScreenLab in March, and we had two artists in. We had Memo, who is somewhere in the audience, and James George. And they came, and we found it was a really success to try and bring artists onto these high technical platforms to demonstrate what really is possible for creativity nowadays in terms of interfacing with things which before were just computer science or just technology. But now you can get one person in their bedroom can hack away at something and make something that's very advanced and sometimes blows the computer scientists out of the park, or even if it's not just through technique, it's through the vision of what they're trying to do with it. So we try to bring this element again and again, and this is why we've got the ScreenLab series. And we're hoping to have other branches of how this incentive could work. But yeah, we're really lucky this time to get Joel here, who is from Helicar and Lewis, and Joni over here from Bristol, anti-VJ, and Carl flew in from New York. So it's the first time that we've managed to collect these people together, and we had a great time. But yeah, the big things that kind of came out of this was doing things with the facilities here which hadn't been done before. And the big one of that this time was the cave. Because the cave before is this like immersive projection environment, and it's non-public, and it's meant for research. And this is the first time it's been used for an art project. And it's the first time the public have been invited into the Octave to experience it. So we're really happy that this kind of like was a great match for us. It was like some facility that the artists really wanted to work with and knew how to work with. And on the other side, this facility in the university, which nobody got a chance to see. So anyway, I'm going to pass it over to Joel, and we're going to do a live demo, which I'm the assistant for. So, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Elliot. Let me just turn off this massive projector and I'll turn on another projector. Oh, magic, wow. Voice-activated projector, even better. Okay, now let me turn on this even bigger, louder projector. So to start off with, I'm just going to introduce my practice as Helicar and Lewis. Pete, my creative partner, is there on the left. He doesn't wear glasses, but he just felt left out, so he put some glasses on for that. I'm not going to talk through all of these things. I'm just going to talk about 5 things about Helicar and Lewis, and then I'm going to get into what I've been up to at ScreenLab. And this has just got a couple of points that I've developed over the last 4 years with Pete that I think are important. So at Helicar and Lewis, what do? We make loops. We make loops between people, things, and networks. And I've got a couple of examples of the kind of loops that we like to make. We like to make things that happen in the real world. This is a project that I worked on back in 2006 when I was part of United Visual Artists. This is a large-scale LED installation that we took around the world for Massive Attack. And this was an audio-responsive piece that I made, and it just really opened my eyes to the possibility of making something that was audio-responsive. Very simple technically, but it got exciting when 3D, the lead singer, would point the microphone at the crowd, and the crowd would scream and go crazy, and that would make the stage go crazy, and that would make the band go crazy, and that would make the crowd go crazy. And these kind of feedback loops that were enabled by technology really got me excited, which was one of the reasons that I set up Helicar and Lewis with Pete 4 years ago now. One of the projects that really sparked our interest in using social networks as well is this is one called the Hello Wall. So you can see here you could tweet at the Hello Wall, so white circles smaller. You could send a message to it, and then there was an architectural scale projection that was happening in lovely Wembley in London, and you could send a message to it, and the projection would respond to you interactively. So as the camera pans up, very badly exposed iPhone video I apologize for. At the moment, the white triangles are dropping, and in the second, the white circles will drop. But the interesting thing about that was all the local geezers in the pub opposite, first of all, started out, can I swear? Am I allowed to swear? I shouldn't swear. All the local geezers were like, whoa, what's that bollocks? Yeah, no, there's nothing useful there. And then we came back a week later, and they'd all got Twitter accounts, and they were changing it compulsively from like Arsenal colours to Chelsea colours, and these kind of Twitter battles were going on, enabled by this technology. But it was interesting for us because even though the locals, in their mildly drunk state, were tweeting abusive messages to it, people from around the world were actually sending messages to it, even though they couldn't see the results. And that was fascinating for me, that someone would tweet something and trust that the result was happening, and just that trust or that idea was enough. And we continued those ideas with the Hello Cube, which we did this year in the Turbine Hall in Tate Modern. That was a collaboration between us and Louis Vuitton and Tate Collectives, which is the youth group at the Tate. I think I'm wearing exactly the same jumper that I am now in this video, so that just shows my Sartor. Oh no, slightly different color, there we go. But what we did in that case was we made a cube that was based on Yayoi Kusama's work, and when you tweeted at the object, it would tweet you back with an image of the result. So it made a feedback loop between you and the installation. So in some ways it was a limited edition print that was generated using Yayoi Kusama's work and these commands, and you could also look into the object and it would respond to sound as well. But as well as making loops, we make meta loops, and by that I mean we open source absolutely everything that we do. So all of the projects that you're going to see now and the projects, 2 projects I made here at ScreenLab, I'm going to open source and give away. And I think that's really important, first of all, because I draw from the open frameworks and open source community so extensively, but also because it's important to remember that you're not doing it for the money, right? You're doing it to make interesting things. You're doing it to make powerful experiences. But, how do you pick where you do those kind of experiences? Well, intersections are the thing that Pete and I in our practice are very interested in. There's an example of these intersections here. The intersection between gigs, promo videos, and merchandise. Why are all these 3 things separate? When I go and see a gig from a band, why don't I see the music video up on stage, and why doesn't the promo video look the same, and why doesn't the merchandise look the same? If you combine all those 3 things together, you can do things faster, cheaper, and gooderer. I just invented gooderer. But that said, you've got to pick 2, right? In the commercial world, you've got to pick 2 of these options. It can be good and fast, but it won't be cheap. or it could be good and cheap, but it's not going to be fast. So I think that's another important thing to bear in mind, that these commercial engagements that come out of this artistic practice, the triumvirate is impossible. You've got to have two. And this is a little rant about that Golan Levin highlight recently, that new media artists are the unpaid R&D department of ad agencies. So I look forward to ad agencies ripping off these projects in the next few months. I'm sure it's going to happen. Also, failure is something that I'm very interested in, and that's something that I'm going to be talking about in a moment. Pete, whose background is in skateboarding, he was a pro skater for 10 years, and he told me that skateboarding was all about failure, and I think programming is all about failure as well, right? That you're not pushing it hard enough if you're not failing every day. But that said, I think there needs to be education on both sides, right? The coders need how to work it out, and the artistic and commercial agencies need to work out as well, and then everyone can just make out and it'll all be wonderful. To finish up on my fifth point, I really believe in the power of real time. Okay, so all the work I'm going to show you in a second is real time, and I think all the work that we're going to see from Joni and Kyle is all going to be real time work as well. And I think that's really important, that it isn't just video playback or something like that. And I really believe that the interaction needs to happen in a real time fashion in order for these interactions to be powerful and meaningful. Otherwise, you're essentially just watching a video projection being projected onto a building or something like that, and it's not that interesting. So this was a project that I did back in 2009 with some other people from the Open Frameworks community, and Zach Lieberman and Theo Watson of Yes, Yes, No as well. And we made a real-time interactive projection that would allow people to interactively work and express themselves on an architectural scale. Well, anyway, I think that's enough about Helicar and Lewis, because I'm running out of time. So I'll get on to what I've actually been doing here this week at ScreenLab. That's much more interesting. Okay, go away, keynote. Okay, so the beginning of all of this process this week was this image. This is basically my ultimate dream. I want to be this guy controlling beams and lasers at will. This is my fantasy. So this 2-week period has all been about fulfilling my fantasies, which is obviously, I think I had a good definition of art a couple of days back, which is art is never having to say you're sorry. So I guess I'm going to be unapologetic about what I've been up to over this time. I'm also very interested in photographic techniques. So this is a pinhole camera in a space in New York that's been used to kind of expose the view of the city onto the walls of the room. But also thinking about the kind of compositions that I want to make. This is an experiment on a bird in an air pump by Joseph Wright of Derby from 1768. Wow, I can read. That's really impressive. But then also Bill Henson is a photographer that I'm really inspired by. This is a piece that he took in the Opera House in the States and did very, very fast exposure and extremely low light. And that's something that I've been really trying to get to with my photographic collaborator, Richard Mefta, who's been here all week. Hello, Richard. Nice one. You're a star. We'll be shooting for Vogue next month. Don't you worry. I'm also interested in illusions. So this was an illusion that I found on the web that really excited me. So all these dots are actually they're all white, but if you concentrate on any one, it seems as if the other ones phase in and out. And I'm amazed by these kind of visual perceptual tricks that you can do. This is another one of my dream photographs that I've kept in on my desktop constantly. I just want to be this kid. That's all I desire. But I've also been interested in the use of really fast photography. So this is George Lagrady, did a whole series of projects around floating objects. And going back into more older works as well, I would say that this piece by Holbein is actually an interactive piece, because the skull in the bottom corner that you probably can't see. Can you see it? Is that yeah, a bit? If I move it over. So the skull is only viewable when you get into the angle. So I could argue that Holbein is actually forcing the viewer into kind of interactive responses. And Leiter is another photographer of mine that's a big inspiration. So I've taken all of these things. Oh, I'm just getting tweets coming in real time. That's quite weird. Thanks, Drew. That's strange. Marguerite, but then this is an image as well that really inspired me, and this is actually going to be the first project I'm going to show tonight. This is the inspiration for the piece called Portals, which is one of the two that I've developed here while I've been at ScreenLab. So this dress by Maison Martin Margiela, was something that just captured my attention. I mean, the jeans on the left are a little impractical, but the graphic effect of these blocks on the model was something that I really wanted to emulate. So, without further ado, could I have my glamorous assistant up on stage, and we will demonstrate this first project. No, do you want me to take my top off? That's a bit unnecessary. Well, maybe later. This should work. Okay, so what's going on here is I've got a Microsoft Connect, you can't see it, which is the 3D camera from Microsoft down here, and an obscenely powerful Christie projector that I need. It's so bright that I actually burnt my retina last week while playing with this, so I'm going to have to put some shades on. It's not just because I'm a hipster. Okay, it's a little bit. It is a little bit because I'm a hipster. So if I stand in space, the skeleton should track me, or the skeleton tracking should work. If I step forward a little bit, can you see it? The idea was to do the piece in real time so that I could emulate this beautiful dress from Maison Margiela and walk around interactively. We're going to have this to play with later on, and I would just say, is it working? Okay, my crotch is a little low. Is it? I can't. It's difficult because it's a feedback loop. My nipples are a bit high-lit as well, but that's okay. Is it in my eyes? I can't really see. Yeah? Okay. I just ask you guys to have a go with this later on if you'd like, but please, 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 please wear the shades, otherwise you will burn your eyes out, and that hurts. Are you adjusting my nipples as we speak? No, so yeah, we can show it's interactive. Oh. Let me pose myself dramatically, and then you can do it. Is it working? Okay, great. Okay, so I think that's the point. That's the point of that one. Okay, yeah, close it. And then the second piece I'm going to show. Well, first of all, I'll show some of the imagery that was generated by the fantastic Richard Mefter over the last 2 weeks. Richard, you're awesome. Wow, that really is interactive. Brilliant. Okay, so let's have a look at some of this imagery. So I should warn you that I did let my Jesus ego out a little bit over this shoot process last night. So please do not be shocked by terrifying imagery of me partially clothed. Where's Sanjoy? So Sanjoy's been fantastic in this process as well. So Richard was really developing this photographic technique to really photograph in low light. I can take these shades off now. To photograph in low light and really try to capture, wow, it's incredibly dark. It's so dark. So this is some of the experiments with beams that we were doing earlier on. And that's the beautiful Kit, who's also been helping us out on this whole thing and is one of the people that made ScreenLab happen together with Elliot. There's me burning my retina out. There's me looking rather pensive. God, it's just all ego, isn't it, art? And then this is some of the further imagery. And this is some of the kind of first steps of projecting back onto myself, but with the help of Elliot. Oh, there's me in a moody pose, looking a bit Christ-like, if I do say so myself. Ooh, thank goodness for nipple cover-up. There we go. Ooh, okay. So yeah, I was giving in to all my worst Scorsese instincts. But I've heard if you put religious iconography or references in your artwork, it sells a lot better, so I'm going for that. Cheeky. Okay, and then I'll just finish up by showing the second of the two pieces that I've developed here at ScreenLab, and this one is called Gateway, and I'll just run that one now. So this one is kind of an interactive piece that's almost designed to be something that a photographer or it's designed to be used as part of a photographic setup. So if I full screen it and put the Connect round here, Sanjoy, you're going to be, where's Sanjoy?
Okay.
Is he photographing as we speak? Okay, Sanjoy is going to be the the photographer, and I'm going to be the model. Come on, Bill Gates, don't fail me now. Okay, there we go, it's got you. Okay, so the idea was that he can kind of interactively gesture and send beams of light. Ah. Shades, good call. That's right. You blinded me interactively. And so he can really just gesture as naturally as he likes. So you just send beams over at will. And this was the lighting technique that Richard then used to make a lot of the imagery that we'll be putting up on the screens and on the Christie screens through in the space. But it was quite an amazing interactive photography session because it was weird that every now and again Sanjoy would be taking photographs and then suddenly we go, I need a bit more light, and then just go like that and just throw some light over me. So this is something that I definitely want to interact with and work with more in the future, and hopefully we can use these things. And if any of you in the audience would like to work with these things, I'm going to be open sourcing all of it. So if you do want to experiment with it or play with it, my Twitter's @JoelGethinLewis, and my email's just me@joelgethinlewis.com. So drop me a line, hack it, let's see what we can make in the future. And I would like to just say a massive thank you to everyone here at the University of Salford, and particularly Kit and Elliot, and of course Sanjoy and Richard for being so fantastic. Thank you very much.